Hi guys, welcome to Taste Time with Stacika, and today we'll be answering the questions you had for me on polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, some of you sent questions about my personal journey, others also sent general questions about the syndrome, so we'll be answering all of this together. But before we start, I just want to say a big thank you for all the love shown in my previous video on PCOS. So that video just me narrating my experience with it. There's so many lovely comments encouraging me, so many people sharing their stories. I got so many DMs, so many messages. I was really overwhelmed. There were so many things to reply to, so many beautiful stories and comments to read. And it's still coming in. I mean, people are still watching it even though it was 2 weeks ago. So keep pushing it, keep sharing to bring awareness to polycystic ovarian syndrome. September was PCOS Awareness Month, but it doesn't mean that the other months we shouldn't learn about it. So keep sharing. Yeah, so we are starting. And apart from the questions, so a few people sent me messages when I asked for questions, sort of like anonymously. So I just read those messages out. So someone said, "I think you're really brave in sharing your story. Thank you. I just wanted to let you know that, and that you can still have kids with PCOS. My mom did. Also, at that PCOS chick on IG is a very good page. I've got tips on managing my PCOS. You should check it out." So you guys could check at that PCOS chick on IG. I'll put the name here and the link in the description. Another message I got was, "PCOS is something I've dealt with for a while, something that's always at the back of my mind. I'm terrified of its attendant complications. However, I'm happy I'm not alone in this journey, that I have someone who I can relate with." I was really surprised how many people messaged me with similar messages telling me that they're happy to have someone they can relate with. I mean, they've been in the dark with PCOS, they felt alone, but it's a really common condition. 1 in 10 women all over the world have it, and about 50% of those women don't even know that they have it. It's so common, and it's so important that we come together and encourage each other. And the last message before I go to the questions: "Hi, I have PCOS too, and I was so moved by your story. Just wanted to say, don't get too worried about having kids. You will have them. Just keep trusting in God. Sending lots of love and hugs your way. We will beat this." Thank you so much. Sending lots of love and hugs to you too, to each and every one of you watching this. Yes, so to the questions, I divided them in 5 sections. First is general questions about the syndrome, then questions on diagnosis, then questions on treatment, then questions on fertility, and then finally personal questions people had for me. So we'll be starting with the general questions. First of all, does it just start as a hormonal imbalance, or there are 2 different things? Now, to answer this question, you have to know what hormones are. Hormones are chemicals in your body secreted by various glands and organs that have a purpose for another gland or organ. So they evoke a response in the body. So something like your ovaries produce estrogen, and estrogen will move through your body and go to various organs to have an effect. So for example, on the breasts, estrogen makes them grow bigger. Do we get it? So that's what hormones basically do. They command the body to do something, to be more like it has a functional purpose. And the hormonal imbalance is when, for your given age or your given gender or your given any demographic, your hormone level for a particular hormone is not the average. So then there's some imbalance. You have either too little of that hormone needed, or you have too much of that hormone needed, and its effects are evident with regards to the function of that hormone. So hormonal imbalance doesn't necessarily mean only reproductive. I mean, hormones do other things, many other. There are different hormones with many other things. There are hormones that regulate your growth, like growth hormone, regulate your response to stress, like cortisol. I'm being too medical, so let me just be simple. So there are 2 different things to answer the question, and they are the same thing. Hormonal imbalance in general means imbalance in any hormone, but PCOS is a syndrome that arises from a hormonal imbalance. So the next question is there a relation between hormonal imbalance and irregular periods, cysts, and PCOS? So I already explained hormonal imbalance. Now, irregular periods could be as a result of many things. It could even be as a result of you being malnourished or you exercising too much. Irregular periods mean a lot of things, so you have to check it out if your periods are not coming regularly. But with PCOS, the reason you get irregular periods is because of hormonal imbalance. Your menstrual cycle is regulated by a number of hormones: follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, estrogen, progesterone. They regulate your cycle when you bleed, when you ovulate, all of that. So when you have an imbalance in these hormones, then you have irregular cycles. Now, cysts are fluid-filled sacs. They are sort of like water balloons. Like, that's how best I can explain them. So cysts are fluid-filled sacs in your body, and you see, the disease called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It means there are many cysts in the ovaries, and it's due to immaturation of follicles. This sounds very complicated, but basically, we all know that eggs are released when we ovulate, and that egg is supposed to be fertilized by a sperm. So the egg is released from something called a follicle, which resembles a cyst. So it's called a functional cyst because it has a meaning. Some cysts are good, I wouldn't say good, but functional, like what I just explained. Some cysts are not so good. Some cysts are just there. Some cysts would cause problems. A cyst is just basically a fluid-filled sac. Yeah, so the question is there a relation between hormonal imbalance and irregular periods, cysts, and PCOS? I think I have explained it by explaining what each of these terms mean, so just from the correlation. And the last question on the general questions about PCOS is, are ovarian cysts another term for PCOS? And I think I've answered this because ovarian cysts could be many things. It could be a functional cyst, it could be a cyst that is problematic. A cyst is basically a fluid-filled sac. So ovarian cysts, there are different types. It's not necessarily if you have a cyst, it means you have PCOS. So the next question is on the next set of questions is under diagnosis. The first question is the syndrome diagnosed at birth, or it's something that is diagnosed later in life? Now, you can't diagnose PCOS at birth because at birth you don't have those specific hormones raging through your body at certain levels to show that yes, you have PCOS. PCOS is usually diagnosed when you hit puberty, sometimes your late teens, early adulthood, based on the symptoms you present with and other things they do. Let's say they take blood tests to test your hormone levels, they do scans to check your ovaries, and yeah, all of that. So PCOS cannot be diagnosed at birth. The second is, my girlfriend's elder sister has PCOS. Is she also likely to be affected? It depends. Now, PCOS has been implicated to be hereditary, so it means that if your mother has it, it's likely that you might have it as compared to somebody whose mother or auntie or sister or any other female of the family didn't have it. So if, for example, in my family, I have a relative who has PCOS. So it's understandable that I have it because it has hereditary implications. So yes, it's possible that your girlfriend's sister might have it, but then it's possible that she might not. It's not necessarily 100% that it's going to pass from generation to generation. It just has hereditary implication. The next is, so this is someone's question. I get irregular periods. Like, I'll miss my period for like 3 months and then it will come. I have chest hair, my legs are hairy. Do you think they could be symptoms? Yes, these are symptoms. Some of the common symptoms for PCOS are irregular periods and also having male pattern hair growth. So excessive hair on your legs, on the chest, as she mentioned. So they are symptoms. So if you have any of these, I'd advise you to go and talk to your gynecologist to see whether you truly do have PCOS or it could be as a result of something else. So we are done with diagnosis. The next section of questions is treatment. Yes, someone asked, I want to know if PCOS is hereditary, so I've answered that. And if one can be on hormone therapy to help regulate and probably increase their female hormones, because I know trans people do so. So, one way of treating PCOS or treating the symptoms that come with PCOS is hormonal therapy. So, it is done actually. And the next question is, are contraceptives harmful when treating PCOS? So, I'm sure the person means hormonal contraceptives because we have barrier contraceptives like condoms that just prevents the entry of sperm, but we have hormonal contraceptives like the pills that um, causes some dysregulation with your cycle, so perhaps you wouldn't ovulate and you wouldn't get pregnant. So they're actually used to treat PCOS sometimes, depending. It actually depends on what your gynecologist believes is best for you, as well as what you would want. I mean, it's a doctor-patient thing. I can't say that you should take contraceptives because they can regulate your hormones. They can also cause some problems as well. So it largely depends on what your gynecologist would say. So they aren't necessarily harmful. They aren't harmful. They are used to treat, but it can have its attendant side effects and other things. So it depends on what your doctor says. Yeah, so that's all for treatments. So I've answered the general questions, the diagnosis related questions, treatment related questions, and the next is fertility related questions. So the first question is, if you have it, can it be cured and can you also have kids? Now, PCOS, it's not exactly a disease that it can be cured. It's a syndrome, so it's a collection of various symptoms that I don't know how to explain it so well, but it's not a disease that can just be cured. It can be managed. So it's managed by hormonal therapy, especially if you are at a stage where you'd want to give birth. So hormonal therapy helps with stimulating ovulation. It's also managed by a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy foods, engaging in exercises, cardio-related exercises, strength training. That helps with regards to the insulin resistance aspect of it. And having PCOS causes an issue with insulin resistance, so that's why people with PCOS are predisposed to diabetes. So then that is managed by a healthier lifestyle. So you see the symptoms that with PCOS, and yeah, I think also the excessive hair growth. There are certain medications that can be taken to reduce the excessive hair growth. So every problem that comes with PCOS comes with its attendant management. So it's not going to exactly cure the syndrome, but then it can be managed and managed well. So that's the first part of the question. If you have it, can it be cured? And can you also have kids? Now, I don't want to read the other questions before I answer this issue of having kids. The next question says, does it mean you're infertile or it's just a possibility? And the third question is, so does it mean you really can't give birth at all? So let me explain fertility in this case. You will be pronounced as infertile if you've been actively engaging in sexual intercourse for the purpose of conceiving for a given period of time. I think it's a year or so. I'll put the definition by WHO on the side just for you to be sure. So I can't say that I'm infertile because I have not been fulfilling these requirements in order to conceive. I'm not ready to conceive right now. So I wouldn't say I'm infertile. Now, because of PCOS, there's a problem with ovulation, and ovulation produces the egg that the sperm will fertilize, and you need that egg. So when you have issues with ovulation, that's when you have issues with fertility. So when you have PCOS and you want to conceive, you might have troubles. It doesn't mean that you will not be able to conceive, because there are certain medications that can be taken that will stimulate ovulation. I think I mentioned that briefly before. And that depends on you and your gynecologist. You discuss these things. You say, okay, I'm ready. I want to give birth. You start taking this medication, start timing your sexual activity. A lot of things go into it. But then it's very, very possible to conceive when you have PCOS. It's just might not be as easy as it would have been if you didn't have PCOS. I think I've answered these questions. It's not that you are 100% infertile, but then that aspect of infertility or not being able to conceive can be managed depending on your situation. Yes, I've answered the fertility questions, and now moving on to the personal questions that people had for me. So these are just 3 simple questions. The first is, how is your boyfriend taking it? Well, I think obviously I told him about it before I told the world through YouTube. So he's well aware of what PCOS is. He's also a medical student, so he's well aware of what it entails. And he does not have a problem with it. Yeah. And I just want to add that if you have PCOS and you are in a relationship and the other person or the guy or whatever is not tolerant about it, meaning perhaps he's more keen on having children and wants to terminate the relationship because of that, just know that he's not worth you. Because before children come in, there's supposed to be a partnership. It means that if someone leaves it because of PCOS, it means they are basically saying they value having children more than they value you as a partner. Having children shouldn't be the main reason why you would get with someone. I mean, it's a factor, but it shouldn't be the main reason. So if it's the reason someone would leave you, then he's not worth it. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's not simple, but you should see it that way. You are worthy. You are worthy with or without the ability to conceive. It doesn't add to your value. The next personal question is, how did God help you through this? How is He still helping you? Well, I mean, I was very terrified and scared. I think you could tell from the previous PCOS video. When I found out I had it, I just reminded myself that God will not leave me. He will not forsake me. When I feel like I look horrible because of the spots on my face or my facial hair or something, I remember that God doesn't look at the outward appearance, that He looks at the heart. That if people look at me and see, oh my God, she looks like a boy or something like that, and it makes me feel bad, at least I know one person who looks at me for me and loves me for me, not for what I look like, not for whether I can conceive, not for any of those standards that we hold women by in society. And yeah, I guess it's the love of God that has kept me going in many things in my life, and especially in PCOS. And the final question is, have you considered creating a support group? Now, I think it's something that was in my mind, but when I started receiving more of these messages of women sharing their stories right here from Ghana, Ghanaian women telling me so many things, not just Ghanaian women, even women from different parts of Africa and the world, sharing with their stories and how they finally feel seen and heard, I was really touched. And I think it's something I'm really going to do in due time. So if you are interested in being involved, shoot me a DM and we can talk on this further. So that's it. That's all. I've answered all the questions. I hope I've answered well. I hope I've taught you something and I've helped bring awareness about PCOS. And if this has helped you, if this has educated you, answered your questions, don't hesitate to share this video to your friends, your families, the ladies in your life. If you're having symptoms of PCOS, if you're seeing excessive hair growth, yet having difficulty losing weight, if you're trying to get pregnant and you're struggling, please get evaluated by your gynecologist and see if you do have PCOS. Because aside all these problems already mentioned, having PCOS is a risk factor for diabetes, for heart disease, for various forms of cancers. PCOS is not something to be dealt with lightly. It predisposes you to these things more than women who do not have PCOS. So make sure you get tested for it. It's not just a PCOS test. Definitely it will take some evaluation before they come to the diagnosis. And if you do have PCOS, please make sure you're always in touch with your gynecologist, with your doctors. Please make sure you make the needed lifestyle changes and make sure you have people around you who would support you. And that's all. Please don't forget to check out my other videos. Please subscribe, like this video, and share to everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.